Salut, je m'appelle Lesedi et aujourd'hui, je vais vous montrer comment apprendre les langues romances en 6 étapes faciles. So the first and most important thing when learning any language is consistency. If you're not consistent, you will never reach fluency. So for those who don't feel they have the habit, the best place to start is normally with Duolingo. You try and do at least 5 minutes a day and try and get to a 30, 60 or 90 day streak. And then once you've reached that, then you can implement all the other steps that are going to come up in this video. Okay, step 1, audio. The best way to learn a new language is to listen to it. And the best way sometimes is through a podcast. And the nice thing about podcasts is that they're part of your normal daily life. You're either driving somewhere every day, or you're in the gym, or you're cleaning the house. And while you're doing that, instead of listening to something else, why not listening to a podcast in the target language that you're trying to learn? The best podcast I've noticed for beginners is Coffee Break. So Coffee Break is a whole broad range of different language learning podcasts. The one that people are gonna love the most, and that's Netflix. And the reason why I say Netflix is another good way to learn a foreign language is to watch and listen to native speakers speaking at their normal native speed. And you watch it with English subtitles. That's very important. And you should be comfortable with not understanding everything. You're not going to understand most of what they say, but you're going to be exposed to the language at a native level. And over enough time, you'll eventually start to understand a lot more. But you have to be patient and consistent with it. And you need to implement all the other steps or it won't work. Step number 3. And that one is reading. And the problem I've noticed when learning a new language in terms of reading is that most of the books that are at your level are kind of like kids' books. So they're not really entertaining to read from, right? Because, I mean, if you're 25, you wouldn't really want to read about Winnie the Pooh, right? But the books that would interest you, for example, Hunger Games in Spanish, because of the level of Spanish that would be used in that book, you wouldn't understand most of it. So in terms of books, I highly suggest Ollie Richards' books. So Ollie Richards is a famous YouTuber, well-known polyglot, who has a wide range of books that cover multiple different languages. And they kind of written at a level where you're at. So if you're a beginner, he has books for you. And if you're an intermediate, he has books for you as well. And essentially, those books have amazing stories. He's very focused on having amazing stories because it makes the learning process fun. It's just like watching Netflix, you know? When you're watching your favorite show, it becomes more fun to study. And in the same way, if you're reading something that's captivating, it makes it fun to read. Step number 3. And that one is reading. And the problem I've noticed when learning a new language in terms of reading is that most of the books that are at your level are kind of like kids' books. So they're not really entertaining to read from, right? Because, I mean, if you're 25, you wouldn't really want to read about Winnie the Pooh, right? But the books that would interest you, for example, Hunger Games in Spanish, because of the level of Spanish that would be used in that book, you wouldn't understand most of it. So in terms of books, I highly suggest Ollie Richards' books. So Ollie Richards is a famous YouTuber, well-known polyglot, who has a wide range of books that cover multiple different languages. And they kind of written at a level where you're at. So if you're a beginner, he has books for you. And if you're an intermediate, he has books for you as well. And essentially, those books have amazing stories. He's very focused on having amazing stories because it makes the learning process fun. It's just like watching Netflix, you know? When you're watching your favorite show, it becomes more fun to study. And in the same way, if you're reading something that's captivating, it makes it fun to read. And of course, after reading, it's obvious that step number 4 is going to be writing. And writing is really amazing because it allows you to kind of like filter your words before you get them out, you know? You have enough time to fully express yourself. And that's why I'd suggest with writing, you should rather kind of target, you know, trying to at least read write a page a week in the early stages, and then later on, as you progress and you become better, try and get that to a page a day. And that page can be anything, you know. It could be writing what you did that day, or it could be writing the things you're grateful for, or it could be writing, I don't know, lyrics to the song you really like. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And now for step number 5. And a lot of you are not gonna like this one, especially if you're a beginner. And that one is speaking. There's no way you're going to learn how to become conversationally fluent in a foreign language if you don't practice speaking it. And to practice speaking, you should target maybe between 30 minutes to an hour every single weekend. You know, you can either do that with the tutor, you can hire a tutor to do that with you, or you can find a friend who's also learning the language and speak to them. Or if you don't know anyone, then you can just reach out to the language learners community. You can join our WhatsApp group, send a message, and find a language exchange partner there. And ours is completely free. And last but not least, this is one that everyone will dislike. Maybe the few crazy people will like it. And that's intentional studying. Yes. Okay, you can boo me. Yeah, whatever. But that is one key important part of language learning. You need to spend some time intentionally learning the things you're being exposed to. So that whether that means during the podcast you heard something that, you know, the presenter said that you didn't quite understand. Now this is your chance to go down those little things, understand the little things, you know, understand the nitty-gritties, as well as, you know, just trying to understand the grammar, right? And another thing you should be doing is learning new words. So that's part of the study, right? What I'd suggest is you Google the 1,500 or 2,000 most common words and, you know, download that and create an Anki deck or create some sort of flashcards. For me personally, I use Anki for my flashcards, which is an app that you can download for free. You download it for free, and then you search online Anki deck for 1,000 most common Spanish words. Then you download that and then you import it directly into your Anki app, and then you learn from there. Or if you'd like to, you can just write them down and create your own personal cue cards. And try to spend between 5 to 10 minutes each day on this. And then in terms of the studying, also trying to spend between 5 to 10 minutes. So that's 5 to 10 minutes on normal studying, then 5 to 10 minutes on trying to learn new words. And those are the steps. And if you implement all 6 of those steps consistently for a long enough time horizon, you can go from 0 to conversationally fluent in a time period dependent on how many hours you're willing to put in. If you're willing to put in more hours, you can get there in 3 months. If you're willing to put in moderate hours, you can get there in 6 months. And then if you want to, you know, coast through, you don't want to try too hard, you can get conversationally fluent in a year. But you have to implement every single step on a consistent basis. Whether you're implementing it for 5 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, it's a lot better than going 2 weeks not doing anything and then doing one for 5 hours for 2 days and then going again for 2 weeks doing nothing. So that consistency is incredible. But that's the end of today's video. Merci pour regarder, and I hope to see you on the next video. We upload new videos every single week on a Sunday. À la prochaine.